We shall, in this particular mini video session, discuss about the working of the for loop. Before explaining the syntax of the for loop, it is much better to take a look at a program using a for loop and then understand how the for loop really works. So in order to understand the for loop, I am going to print all the odd numbers from 1 to n. So what is n? N is the last odd number the user is interested to print. So the user may say, I want n to be, say, 11. So it will print from 1 to 11. It will print 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 and 11. That's what you mean, odd numbers from 1 to n. N happens to be 11 in this particular case. So I read to know the end point, and that is stored in a variable called num. So num gives me the limit or the last odd number I am going to print. So let us take our sample value of num as 11. All right, we want to print from 1 to 11. Then what I am going to do here is I am going to do it using the for loop. So what I have done is I have taken another variable called I have given it the initial value called 1. So this declaration of I and the initialization in a for loop happens only once, and that is the first time. After that happens, before it executes this statement, it will check the condition whether this is true. Is 1 less than or equal to number? It is true. Since it is true, it will print the value of I. So it will print 1 on the screen. Once it prints 1 on the screen, I go back to this place. I increase I by 2. I ends up becoming 3. Before I execute this step, I should check the condition. Is 3 less than or equal to 11? It is true. So I now print the next value of I on the screen, which happens to be 3. Then I again go back here. This is 3 plus 2, I becomes 5. Once I becomes 5, again I go back, check the condition before executing. 5 is less than or equal to 11, it is true. So I am going to print 5 on the screen. Now, once it's true, I am printing 5 on the screen. Now I am going to, after printing 5, I am going to increase the value of I by 2. It becomes 7. Again, I come back to this condition. Is 7 less than or equal to 11? It's true. I come back here. I am printing the value of I, which happens to be 7. Then I is now equal to 7 plus 2. I ends up becoming 9. Is 9 less than or equal to 11? It is true. Then I come here again and I print the next value of I, which happens to be 9. I now becomes 11. 11 is equal to 11, which is the value of num. So we're still fine. I'm going to go ahead and print the value of I, which happens to be 11. Then I increase the value of I by 2. I ends up becoming 13. Now this 13 is neither less nor equal to 11. So I will come out of this for loop and come to the next statement, which is holding the screen, return 0 and end the program. So you just need to understand one or two things here. This is one expression, second expression, third expression. Here I am doing an initialization. Here I am checking the condition. Here I am doing the increment or decrement. In this case I am increasing. Many cases I may be decreasing. So this can be one expression. This can be another expression. This can be the third expression. So when I'm doing cout set width, in the width of 4 spaces, I'm printing the value of I. So this statement is going to be executed as long as the value of I is less than or equal to number. So this step, int I is assigned the value 1 happens only once. After that, it is always test the condition, do it, do this increment, test the condition, do it. Okay, so it's always increment, test the condition, do it, except the first time it will do this, test the condition and execute. Now let's understand a little bit about the for loop. The for loop is also known as a fixed execution structure loop. Why is it known as a fixed execution structure? Generally, when we know the beginning and the end, in this case, what is the beginning? The value of I. And what is the last? The value of num, which happens to be 11. So I know from 1 till the value of I reaches 11, I need to keep doing this set of statements. That is why for is known as a fixed execution looping statement. So a for loop is used when we know how many times we are executing a set of statements in advance. Like when we were breaking down a number, we used the while loop because we did not know when the number is going to end up becoming 0. But here we know that I know the beginning value of I know the end value of I. So I know how many times it is going to go around. That's why I'm using the for loop. So it has a facility for declaration and initialization of variables. This is the test condition. This is increase or decrease the variable. If you forget to do this, this will get into an infinite or an endless loop. Now take a look at the working of the for loop. First, initialization is done only once. Then the test condition is done. If this is true, it will execute the statement. If this is false, it will straight away come here and end the program. Now, once this is true, it will execute this, do this increment or decrement, then test the condition here and again execute it. Now, in this case, there is only one single statement associated with the for loop. But if you have more than one statement, or you have a compound statement, or you have a block of statements, then you will have to put it in flower braces. So I have already told you when the increment and decrement is going to get executed. After every execution of this statement, this is going to get executed and then the test is going to happen. Then the above steps are repeated as long as this condition remains true. Now if you have to take a look at the syntax of the for loop, this is how a for loop really syntax looks in terms of a written diagram. So this is how a for loop should really stand. First, this is an expression. I'm initializing. So in initialization, I can say expression 1, expression 2, expression 3. Expression can be any statement like this. This is all expression. Okay. Initialization. Generally, we do initialization. Test condition I less than or equal to number. Increasing or decreasing I plus equal to 2. This is a statement. And here I have only one statement, so I have not put the flower bracket. But if you have more than one statement, you can put flower bracket and then execute it. The initialization and this increase field are optional. You may or may not have that, but you cannot have the test condition empty. If you leave the test condition empty, then this will go into an infinite or never ending loop. So, but even if you don't have the initialization and this increment decrement, you should have the semicolon here, you should have the semicolon here. As you can see here, after this, even if this is not there, there should be a semicolon, test condition, semicolon and blank here. Now if you want to do multiple initializations, you can use the comma operator to do multiple. You can say I equal to 1 comma j equal to 2 x equal to 5 and so on. So I hope you have understood how the for loop works. Once we take a look at one or two more examples, things will be a lot more clearer.